Let's talk about the case of Alan Lee, a 26-year-old resident doctor in Miami Beach who thankfully was stopped in his pursuit where he wanted to buy a 12-year-old. He's a Miami Beach doctor in training. He thought that he was in the process of purchasing a 12-year-old human being from a trafficker. He wanted to keep her locked in his home to have sex with and keep under his control. That's the direct quote that they have in this article. He was actually speaking with an FBI agent, thankfully. He's facing charges of attempted sex trafficking of a minor younger than 14 and attempted coercion of a minor. This is Alan Lee, thankfully was actually stopped. He apparently began this process in March, reaching out to an escort he knew from Ohio. He knew that she was trafficked, so he wanted her to help his friend meet young girls, ideally 8 to 15. But there was no friend, federal authorities said. It was for him. He wanted the child for himself and he used a fake account to do so, writing to this woman who, again, he knew she was trafficked and he thought, oh good, thus I have an in to the world of trafficking. He sent a message saying, hi, I'm Mike. Alan gave me your contact, but I also like younger girls if you know what I mean. What age, the woman asked. Ideally 8 to 15, he wrote. And the pair landed on spending $500 to have 1 hour with a 12-year-old for sex and the possibility of buying the child for $20,000 so that he could keep her permanently in his home. The entire thing, obviously, Adrienne, is just disgusting. Thankfully, it didn't happen. This is a reminder that while law enforcement and all that fails us in a lot of cases, we do like to give them credit when they get it right. And in this particular case, they at least stopped this person who, in this case, would not have been able to get a person through this. They're talking to the FBI, but might have continued in their pursuit of trying to purchase a human being.
Yes, I definitely agree with you in terms of law enforcement getting it right here. And I think that is something that we often do see at the federal level. We have definitely seen things slip through the cracks. There were some problems in a number of cases, but this case, I'm very, very glad that the FBI was involved and that this individual Lee that was stopped, because also too, you are studying to be a doctor. Who knows if he's going to be a pediatrician or what he was going to be, but he is clearly a sexual predator in some way. And there is something extremely disturbing and disgusting when you are hunting out people. And that's exactly what he was doing.
100%, yeah. And the idea that a doctor would do this is scary. Now, that does not mean that thus conspiracy theories that literally everyone who works with kids does so that they can have sex with kids are true. That is not true, but there are sick people. And so we do need to be on the watch for that. Just one little added wrinkle. He apparently asked if he could pay for this human with either cash or Bitcoin, because of course, Bitcoin had to be a part of this eventually. Anyway, he also alluded to previously having had a live-in situation with a 13-year-old girl. So I am assuming that is going to be investigated. It is possible that this was just like braggadocio or something like that to convince this person that he could be trusted to own a person because he's already done it. I don't know. It's sick if it's not true. It's sicker if it's true. But certainly they will be looking into this. And yes, it's good job. I agree generally. Look, the FBI has stopped plots by militia members to do horrendous acts of violence, the kidnappings. They've stopped people who tried to spark race wars and things like that. And they do track down a lot of people who've been trafficked. And so not to say that they don't, do terrible things too, but generally it seems a little bit less rife with corruption and a predisposition to violence than you see in some other forms of law enforcement.
Definitely. And just kind of interesting considering how they started, but that's fine.
Yeah, good point. Maybe we can get into that at some point. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.